Yes, sir. Oh my God.
Damn, are we starting on time today?
We're live. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Episode 18 here, okay, on Braves Podcast. Ball 4. Gotta love it. Episode 18, Lira. Can you believe that, man?
18 and
Yes,
two in
sir.
1 week.
Two in 1 week.
We're,
Can't
we're
believe
elevating.
that.
We're elevating.
Yes, sir. I'm Gus Rico here. My co-host, Andy Lira. I know he looks like he's about to go run a marathon, but don't mind him, right? Born and raised. Raiders. Go
Yeah,
Raiders.
Come on now, Ray. No, yeah, 18. It's been a grind, but hey, we're here to do 2 in 1 week, and maybe we can make this a normal thing. Well, who knows, But then again, for you guys in here, hit the subscribe button. It does not hurt. Also, hit the like button, and then once we go through our updates and everything, we'll introduce our guests.
Yes, man. All right, everyone. Just want to send a couple shout outs here. Wife and kids. I got one in here. Just surprised us. I don't know where the other two are at. Probably with the wife, players and coaches. You guys did an amazing job this past week. Actually, the whole month. You guys got after it with our players. I want to thank you guys for that. We want to thank Tori for working out our kids. They did great. Familiar faces every single week. That's important. Consistency. Loved it. Our Braves parents, thank you guys so much. You guys did a great job of showing up and keeping the boys healthy. Again, my dad for taking my kids everywhere. Appreciate you, Dad. Love you. You a legend. I know he was looking forward to this one, so he's going to be probably tuning in, probably, most likely. Braves updates. We got Monday off, Labor Day. Some of us do. Back at it next week on Tuesday. We'll start practice again on Tuesday. So Monday, enjoy it. Soak it all in. Barbecue with your parents, with your family. Jump in the pool, kiddos. Perfect time to do it. Our rosters are up and running. Our Friday clinic start next Friday. We still are looking for some catchers out there that want to come join our catching clinic. Sign up. And what else? Good luck to our 9U Braves. Our 9U Braves this weekend. They'll be playing in Camarillo. Simi Valley, Camarillo. So good luck to them. They're opening up the season for us.
Yeah, go win it.
Go win it. Go get those unis. Y'all better win it, right, Lyra?
Yeah, no, we're not taking anything else but a win.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Lyra. Hit it.
Well, yeah, now it's time to introduce our guest. A great guy here. Develops players, professional players. He's had a good history of it. Is doing that now. He travels from the U.S. to Mexico. Got drafted, and what we say, a catcher grew in the sense. So we're excited to hear and get this podcast going with him.
A1A's finest.
Yep, A1A's finest. Nothing but love and a great guest here. So to my left, Rox Arroyo.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that intro, man.
That was good, huh?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate it, seriously.
Thank
I
you.
want to congratulate you guys on everything you're building.
Appreciate you.
You guys established, 2010?
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah, that was when I started too, man. So proud of you guys and everything you guys are doing, obviously in the Valley and in baseball. So I just want to give you guys your respect.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. So let's get started, man. Tell us more about yourself. Tell all everybody that wants to know who you are and then your story and then how you got from one place to where you're at now.
All right. So for those that don't know, my name is Rox Arroyo. Rafael Arroyo is my real name. I'm in charge of player development with the Tigres de Quintana Roo in the Mexican League. I'm a former draft pick by the Mets, 26th round in 2004. Played ball for 6 years, and then from there I was a big league bullpen catcher for 1 year in 2010 with the Mets. Ended up meeting with Oliver Perez, left-handed pitcher, and he's the one that introduced me into Mexico. Went down there, started training him, and the rest is history as far as his career. He ended up transitioning from a starting pitcher into a reliever. Did a lot of strength and conditioning with him, and that changed his life, man. And I think it prolonged his career. And from there, I went on with Julio Diaz, trained him for I want to say about 6-7 years.
Nice.
And after that, after the Dodgers won the World Series, I get a phone call from an academy, which is the summer league there's 2 leagues in Mexico, Winter League and a Summer League. And the Summer League team, the Leones de Yucatan, have an academy in Mazatlan. So they invited me down there, and I did a couple camps with those guys down there, kind of just introducing my strength and conditioning, which is Rock Sports Performance. And I got a phone call from the Tigres de Quintana Roo, which is owned by Fernando Valenzuela and run by his son, Fernando Valenzuela Jr., who I've known for years.
Nice.
And he invited me over to the Tigres, and that's where I've been the last 4 seasons.
Man.
Man, that's dope.
That's
dope.
All right, everyone, show's over. That was good. Man, that was great. That was a great
That's a great track record right
I'm
there.
long-winded, man.
resume. Yeah. So tell us about how'd you get, I know it's a little off topic, but Rox. Where did Rox come from?
Rox, man. Shout out to my boy Vince Vargas. We were in high school, and growing up, my cousins called me Rots with the T. And so one day my sister, she's like, "Hey, Rots, do you want something to eat?" Because back then I was a freshman, she was a senior.
Yeah.
And, they could leave campus for lunch.
Yeah.
And Vince Vargas was one of my good boys, always like my big bro in high school. And he asked me, he's like, "Hey, what did she call you?" I said, "Rots." He's like, "Rots." He's like, "Nah, I don't like that, man. I thought she called you Rocks."
Right.
He's like, "That's tough, man, like you, like little rocks, you know?" So it stuck. And ever since then, it was just Rocks. And, I branded myself with that name.
That's awesome.
And my logo and everything with, the Rock Sports Performance. And I would say 90% of the people call me Rocks.
Man, that's great. Shout out to him.
Yeah,
Right?
so
Honestly,
Vince
yeah, that's
Vargas.
Vince Vargas, man.
That-
Give him 10%. Man.
Well, it's crazy
That's
how
dope.
one little nickname can really put a brand on you, and now everybody knows you about that, and especially in the Mexican League and here in the Valley. So how has it been able to go back and forth? And I know you were doing that, but now somewhat Mexico feels like home now. And so tell us how that went, and how like the experiences from here to over there, and how like you've pretty much, I would say, got used to it.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, it was challenging at first. My first year. So after I did the bullpen catcher thing, our pitching coach Dan Warden, he said, "Hey Ollie, why don't you take Rafi down to Mexico so he can train you?" And I was told I didn't have the idea of training anybody yet. I would train myself as a ball player. So I go down to Mexico to Culiacan, and Oliver was going to play with the Tomateros. So I pretty much just like his personal trainer. We go to the field every day, and we have our routine and all that. And it was challenging, man. Being born and raised in LA and the US, it's a different culture down there. So we're very spoiled here in the States, man. But I didn't realize it at the time. Right. Going and sometimes the power will go out or the AC stops working, no internet. So my first year, I almost quit. Like I almost came home. No joke, man. It was a challenge. There was times that I'm in the hotel room, man, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? I want to go home, but it was one of those things, man. Like when you don't realize, when you're thinking about quitting something, you don't realize how close you are to something better or something greater.
Right.
And so I stuck it out, man. And 14 years later, I love Mexico now. I consider Mexico more of my home than I do the States now.
What?
Yeah, man. So I'm I'm at the point where I love the country, man. I love the culture. It made me connect myself to my parents, my family, my ancestors, and then being in Cancun these last 4 years, man. I always talk about the cultura maya, the Mayan culture, and how knowing your history, man, and knowing how they lived, and they lived so natural, which kind of ties back into my philosophy on strength training, sports performance, where with AI tech, all that stuff's great, but we cannot forget the natural philosophies or the natural ways of living, which is health.
All right, that's it. I'm going to Cancun.
Let's go, man. Anytime you guys want to go.
Man, that's awesome. Woo, that's great. That's great. We're gonna rewind a little bit. Man, that's honestly that's great. We're happy for you. You did an amazing job, and we've been knowing you for quite a while now. But let's talk about growing up a little bit. You started playing for the Park Bums. Talk about a little bit about that, and what do you think about travel ball now? I mean, where it's at. When you were playing, there was that many travel ball teams.
No, I think shout out to Roy, man. Roy Artigas was like in my opinion, the godfather of travel ball in the Valley.
Shout out to him, man.
This was so we started. Roy had started the Sun Valley Park Bums out of Fernangeles.
Yep.
And I remember just being, right out of T-ball, I was like 6 years old. Art Burgueño, they called him Güero. He saw me at Chase Park. We were playing over the line, me and my cousin against him and another kid. And I remember making like a diving play, and I caught the ball, and he's like, "Who is this? Your son?" He told my cousin. He asked him. He's like, "No, it's my little cousin." So,
The
Güero,
Dorado brothers?
what's that?
The Dorado
Yeah,
brothers?
the Dorado. Yeah,
Okay.
Juan was the one that I was with, and he asked him. He's like, we were starting a travel ball organization, and we didn't know what it was. We just knew park leagues, man. You know, that was what it was for us. So he takes me over to Fernangeles. I meet Roy, and he's like, "Yeah, we have this organization." And you know, being the son of immigrant parents, you know, they're always working. Her mom's at home. She doesn't drive. You know, dad's
Yeah.
always working, got 2 jobs. So there was no way of me to, you know, to get taken back and forth to the park or whatever, rides and things like that. So Roy and Weddle, man, they helped me out a lot with that. And I started with them at 7 years old, and he just built this thing, man. We stayed together for about 10 years or 11 years, all the way from 6, 7 years old to the 18, yeah, to high school.
You guys won a couple of natties?
Yeah, man. No, we were very successful. We were 8 years old. We went to our first like big tournament, the double ABC tournament out in Jonesboro, Georgia, and a little bit outside of Atlanta. And that was my
You
first.
guys were 8 and went to Georgia?
Yeah, 8 years
That's
old.
crazy. That's awesome, man.
And Roy instilled a lot of like good values, man.
Damn.
Good values. We would do fundraising. We'd collect cans, man. We would do anything we had to do to
How was
raise.
you guys fundraising back then?
What's that?
That was fundraising?
Yeah, like collecting cans was part of a fundraising, man. We'd go to the park and go dig out, cans in the trash can. This is old school,
we
man.
doing
Yeah. That was like,
look at us crazy right
yeah,
now.
no, yeah, dude. That's why looking back, it's like it kept us humble.
Yes,
But Roy obviously he would never tell us, but I know he came out of pocket a lot, doing things, and he would hold carnivals or host carnivals at Fernangeles Park. But we would just, we do everything, and he put us in different sports, man. He put us in, flag football, basketball, and then obviously we played baseball during baseball season. But that changed my life. That was the foundation of me understanding the work ethic that it takes to be a good ball player. We would practice, 3-4 times a week, at Fernangeles Park.
Yeah.
So he taught us so much. So I thank him a lot. He was a big part of my career. And now I know travel ball is big, man. And you guys are, are a big organization here in the Valley. And I see a lot of similarities, even like the B, right? That was our bums hat, So like with you doing this, man, it kind of it's full circle, right? Doing what you're doing. I know it's gotten crazy. Travel ball, I'm a little bit disconnected from it, but I see, all kinds of teams, coming up and all that. But yeah, that was, in a way, like I said, Roy was kind of the godfather of that, and now everybody gets an opportunity to play.
I mean, a lot of respect for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did it from scratch.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. It's hard to be like, hey, I'm gonna start my own thing, and he did it, and he was successful at it. That's even better. At practicing out of Fernangeles Park. That's
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
awesome.
shoot, when I was growing up, park buns were the ones you would try to go and be a part of, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know I played with them, and they were able to give me the first time to be out of the country. 'Cause I know we did a tournament in Mexico at Tijuana, or a little bit farther than that, and it was a good experience. That's when I was like 10, 11 years old, and you realize the Mexican culture over there is not the same out here. You know what I mean? Like,
No, it's
you
a
got
different
them doing
beast.
all these chants and doing all this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm over here looking at it like, what the hell is going on here? But it just gives you, like you said, right? Travel ball gives you the experience to go out of the state and do that at a young age, and then. But I think that's cool that you guys play flag football together and did all that together as a team. So you guys play multiple. Yeah, I was like, damn, okay. But back then, you're able to do that. I guess it's a little bit easier now. Now you got so many players, so many teams, so many people from different areas.
Right.
But it's also, I guess, that's a good thing now because you're able to get meet other people outside of the Valley, to where a lot of times you stay together and you couldn't really open up your eyes. So
Right.
I think that was dope, and that's what travel ball obviously did for you, and is doing for a lot of more kids and parents to get that experience outside of the comfort zone.
100%. And it set me up, like the traveling, the airports, bus rides, all of that when I was in the minor leagues, and even that 1 year in the big leagues, it was reminiscent. You go and travel city to city, planes, buses, whatever, check into the hotel. But I remember, at 8 years old, I didn't know what a hotel was,
Right.
But it was cool. It was like a big league feel at that age.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
So you go from park bums, and some go to San Fernando, and you end up at Monroe High School.
Yeah.
Mono talked about it. Right? That was like the second, third episode.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things we talked about, but we never really set up a plan, and we wanted to play together. But we lived all around the valley. Some guys lived in Sun Valley, some guy lives in Somar, some in San Fernando. I grew up in Panorama City, and so Monroe was kind of the closest one. It was either Monroe or Poly. So the schools, it was like Somar High School, San Fernando. Some guys went to Poly. I went to Monroe, and a couple guys went to Kennedy. But our senior year, that's when Mondo tried to, or I don't know however it worked out. A lot of guys transferred to San Fernando. JC Sepulveda and myself were the only two that didn't go. And the reason why I didn't go is because my high school coach, Fred Pudrith, he came in the same year I came in. I was a freshman. I went to Monroe High School. Yeah. So that was his first year coaching. And he invested 3 years in, a lot of time with me developing my skills as a catcher and as a hitter and everything. And he believed in me. So for me, loyalty, something that I learned from Roy, it was just, I couldn't do it. And then it was picking up after 3 years of high school and then going to, and I wanted to play with those guys, man. But at the end of the day,
you didn't leave?
No, I didn't leave.
Oh, okay. just making sure.
Yeah, no. So JC didn't go, and they won the city title that year.
Yeah.
And I didn't go, and I know that the guys were kind of pissed because there's no doubt in my mind that we would have won. I wouldn't say we would have won 4 titles if we would all went to the same school.
For sure.
But we would have at least won 2 or 3. There was some good teams out there at that time. But But yeah, I didn't end up going.
How was it playing against them?
It was weird, man. I know facing like Eddie Camacho and Ivan Lopez over at Somar, and then obviously Kennedy. Monroe wasn't a powerhouse, but we would compete. We had a couple good guys, or guys that would compete with those guys. But it was a little awkward at first, when you're like, these are my boys.
Yeah.
Playing against, like, I remember Manny, he was like, hey man, let me give me the pitches. I was like, no, I can't. But yeah,
Manny.
But yeah, no, it was weird. Yeah, playing together all those years and then playing against them.
Against Handy.
Yeah, all those guys, man. But you know what? It worked out, and for me, it worked out because I ended up getting a scholarship to Cal State LA.
Okay.
And again, John Herbal was my coach. Rest in peace. He passed away years ago. But if I would have changed that and I would have gone to San Fernando, it would have changed everything. Yeah. It would have changed the trajectory of where my career went.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like that seems like such a small decision now, but back then it was a huge decision for you, and it ended up paying off. And I think those are the things where it's like, nowadays, like kids leave after a year or whatever. Like back then, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stick it out. I know that we're not maybe the best team out there, but I'm gonna stick it out and ride it out and go here and show that loyalty. And at the end of the day, it works out. It worked out for you.
I mean, some kids stick it out still.
And everybody's situation is different, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was that. And I had no problem with those guys leaving, Somar or Poly and going to San Fernando.
Yeah.
That's, to each their own, but I respect everybody's decision. But you have to live with the decision you make. And for me, like I said, it was perfectly scripted because when I went to Cal State LA, I needed that type of coach. That's the kind of guy that I click with. And he shot me straight. John Herbal, he told me, like, after my junior year, I didn't hit too well my first freshman and sophomore year. And after my sophomore year, he pulled me into the office and he's like, if I were you, I'd lock myself in a batting cage all summer and I wouldn't come out until I learned how to hit.
Damn.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to do that.
For real. I ain't gonna lie,
but I got the message, bro. So I got the message, and then I ended up meeting Doug Latta and all those guys over at the ball yard in Chatsworth, and that's where kind of going off tangent a little bit, but that's where this whole launch angle swing stuff and the whole mechanics of the swing kind of changed a little bit. And those guys those guys were some of the first people that changed. Don't want to say changed the swing, but just changed the philosophy. Yeah. Back then it was swing down on the ball, create backspin, which is correct, but for higher pitches. Yeah. But these guys were talking about you can't swing down on a low pitch because you're going to hit ground balls. Ground balls are mostly outs.
Guys get paid.
Yeah, so now, the Justin Turner, Marlon Byrd, those guys were big instruments in that. Okay. And Craig Wallenbrock was the guy that kind of had that philosophy as well. So learn how to hit. I got the message from Herbal, and I ended up getting drafted by the Mets.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Man.
That's crazy. Lock yourself in the cage, and I want to come on until I learn how to hit. That's
and that was a nice compliment. There's a lot more, man, but
No, but that's funny though, because it's like it's true. Like you ain't. It's like you ain't gonna leave this bullpen until you start learning how to throw strikes. So figure it out. I think that's where it should be true, because it's like that's what you tell yourself. In other words, to say you got to be here all the time. You got to work, and you got to put in those extra hours, whether it be the cage, like live there, and that's how you're gonna get better. I think that's where, and with you, like, I'm sure you go and you use that to develop players now. It's like
100%.
it's like, yo, like, you gotta get here. I may not be here. I'm gonna give you the tools to be here, but you gotta be here just as much as you need to be better and elevate. So I think that's really dope. And
Do you catch
You know?
yourself like saying like relaying that message like you got at a very young age now that you're training all these young guys in Mexico? Like, do you catch yourself like maybe the stuff you learned from all these legends? I mean, Fred Pudrith, Roy, your Cal State LA coach.
My cousins were like my
cousins,
first
yeah,
coaches. They were hard
exactly.
on me as a kid. I remember being like 5 years old and everybody's playing with the T-ball and they're hitting me hard ground balls. And they, they say, get in front of it, stay in front of it. And I appreciate them, even though it was probably like borderline abuse, man.
Hey, you can't do that right now.
No, but I
There's no way.
appreciate that because look, the game is hard, right? And you're gonna go through times, man, where you talk about mental health and you go through peaks and valleys with emotions, man. You could do everything right and fail, and you could do everything wrong and have success. So that the game can sometimes trick you, but you need to have a callous mind, and that's what my cousins taught me. Roy taught me the value of being consistent, work ethic, respect for the game. Always tucking in your shirt, never have our hat on backwards, little things. We had a patch on our sleeve that said, it was like, say no to drugs. He would put that on the bums on the sleeve. Those things I tell the kids the same thing, like you said, coming back to that question, is I instill those same values because it worked for me. And, a lot of people probably look at my size and like, you were a catcher? Or the people say, what position do you think I play? They say second base because I'm like Altuve, man. I'm a smaller guy. But yeah, I was a catcher, but it took that, getting in the weight room, getting in the batting cage, getting on a machine. Fred Pudrith so I would TA for Fred Pudrith my senior year at Monroe. Not many people know this. And after lunch, I'd go there and he would give me a 1 hour lesson every day. Ralph, today we're going to block. Today he would take me out to center field and hit pop-ups. Damn. And his reason was like, even though at Monroe we had that cage, he goes, if we go play Birmingham, is that right?
Yeah.
He goes, you're going to have to learn how to catch a pop-up. Or if we go to the playoffs and we play at these other fields, you're going to have to learn how to catch a pop-up. Yeah. So Fred Pudrith was instrumental. John Herbold was instrumental, and everybody with the Mets as well. So I relay all those messages that they taught me to my kids now. And it's extra special because in Mexico, they don't have the systems we have, right? They don't have like travel ball. They don't have high school baseball. So that's why young Mexican players develop faster because, at 12, 13 years old, they're already kind of MLB prospects. So I start with these kids from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and try to sign them anywhere from 16 and on because that's when they're able to sign. So all of those lessons that I learn, I instill in them, but it's fresh for them too because, it's coming from here, from the States.
That's dope.
So it's really cool. It's really gratifying.
Man,
So there's no hack attacks over there?
No,
You are the hack
right
attack?
here. Blocking everything in my arm, man. Yeah, no, I got to do everything.
There's no
That's
high
dope.
school. I didn't know that. There's no high school baseball over there.
No.
So it's just a bunch of probably academies everywhere,
Let's go
right?
start
Like,
one.
Well, yeah,
Right,
no, not a bunch. There's a few academies. Like we, in a sense, what I do with the Tigres, it's like an unofficial academy, but we do everything at the stadium where the big team plays.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have to find creative ways. I'm going to go down to Los Mochis in about a month. And, we use a public park and, a local gym, and we just find a way. But I like it like that because there's that grind factor, right? It's like we don't have, top of the line stuff. It's that grit. And in baseball, as you go higher and higher, things get nicer and nicer, just like in the minor leagues, or if you go from high school to college to pro ball, and then the big leagues is the best of the best. But you have to earn that right, and you appreciate those things. So that's why, I enjoy that part of it.
And that's dope. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing, and you spend all those times, and you made that career move where moving from the U.S. to Mexico to do that, and then you got to really enjoy it, and it sounds like you do. And that rubs off. It really rubs off to the kids, and it rubs off to them to be like, someone really cares about us. 'Cause a lot of times, some of them, like, are missing that role model. They're missing these things that to get them and tell them on a daily basis to keep going, and for you to be that and have that enjoyment with them.
Like, you're it for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this year, man, was tough. It was challenging, for the Tigres, but it was also challenging for us. And I think this year there was some personal things that I had to deal with these kids. Think about it, man. They're 15, 16 years old, first time going away from home.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to cook. They don't know, and they go through problems. And I'm almost like being a dad to these kids, and I'm at that age where I could be their dad. So
Diablo.
yeah. So you have to deal with personal things, and it's tough, man. But yeah, I feel like a dad. I feel like a coach, a mentor. But it's
No
you know.
wonder you're always by the beach.
Well, that's why I'm always meditating, man.
He's got to get that
Yeah, my therapy,
relaxation
man. I
or
gotta
something.
get right.
But that's what I think. That's what makes me unique when it comes to like I'm not just like a trainer or strength coach. Like I'm more than that, and that's part of like we talk about the Paul Chek certification that I have. He takes a holistic approach to everything, and when I started applying that, and it actually started with Oliver Perez. When he was with the Mets and he got released, think about that. You signed a 3-year deal, and they pretty much pay you to go home. So there's a mental thing there.
Right.
And one instance where I'll never forget is we were at Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, and I kind of brought up the idea to hike, and he's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Let's just go to this mountain and hike." But what I realized, what I realized, it was like therapy, man.
Yeah.
As we're climbing the mountain, we're just talking, and it's almost like when you go for a run, you have all this stuff in your mind, and 10 minutes in, everything, you're like, why am I worrying about that? Why am I worrying about this? It doesn't even matter. So that helped me get to know Oliver Perez on a different level, but also that helps me with what I did with Julio, or what I do with these young kids. Like, I know you miss home, I know you miss the food, but believe me, there's light at the end of this tunnel, man, and it's beautiful when you're able to sign these guys.
So do you do that now with your players? Are you doing like go
Yeah.
take them hiking and stuff like that?
Yeah, I always try to find nature, man. Nature for me is something that's so powerful that we're slowly drifting away from. But just to get them connected and get them barefoot on the dirt or whatever, or just to see the sights. It's very, very meditative, very therapeutic, and I realize that and I get good responses from the kids. They love it, man. They love being out there and kind of changing it up.
Yeah, because it's just like, imagine going out there and then you're hiking and you're all these mountains, and then you finally you get to the top and you just oversee everything, and you feel like you're on top of the world at that moment.
You actually conquered something.
Yeah, and I think that feeling there is something that you can relate to these kids. Where
6
it's
a.m.
like,
tomorrow. Let's do it.
Let's go.
6 a.m. I'm down.
Yeah.
You don't get
Runyon
You gotta wake
Canyon.
up, though. You gotta wake up. And
I
then
wake up at 6 a.m. every day.
You gotta wake up and then actually like get your mind right, and then like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, all right,
You don't
all
have
right.
it in you, man. You're wearing a Raider hat.
Oh, that's what we're doing now? Hey, well, they call us the bad boys for a reason, bro.
Man, that's great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how is it like working with these athletes that you work, these big names? How was it? I mean, Julio Diaz, a lot of respect for him, and Ollie, and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more out there.
Yeah. I've worked with Oliver Perez was the first one.
Yeah.
I worked with Julio Diaz after that a little bit.
Ollie's retired, right?
Yeah, Ollie retired, 20 years in the big leagues, man.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's a very good story too, because he made that change. He was able to, once he got released, he took a chance on me, and I took a chance on him, and it was just one of those things that teamwork makes the dream work, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it alone. He couldn't have done it without me.
Right.
But it's a relationship that continues to give. That to me was gratifying because a lot of people counted him out, and I know him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
He's an unbelievable person, and when I did it, I almost did it as a favor because of how well he treated me. When I got to the big leagues with the Mets as a bullpen catcher, he offered me his second apartment, and he goes, the team gave me money for rent, and he goes, just keep that money, and you could stay at my second apartment for when his family would come in to visit. And so little things like that he did for me. So that was awesome. That was a cool story for people to count him out, and it was an inspirational story because even in Mexico, when we first went to Culiacan, he would get booed by the fans. It's his hometown.
Oh wow.
And I would remember that, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, man, why are they booing you? And because that's the way Culichis are, and it's respected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he even said to himself, "It's like I never gave him a reason to cheer me on anyway. I was a disappointment."
Damn.
And he was truthful to himself. So when I was able to help him get back to the big leagues, and then when we went down and played after he got back with Seattle, fans stood up and cheered him on. So that's what it was all about for me. That was like a drug for me. I was like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So then when Julio came around too, it was like I'm helping another guy. When he won the World Series, it was like that helped me.
Yeah.
With like Rox, people knew who I was now, especially more here in LA.
Yeah.
And that's what gave me the opportunity with the Tigres. Eventually was Julio. So for me, it's very gratifying, man. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sacrifice. I got to sacrifice time with my parents and family because I leave.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a lot of personal growth. So I love it, man. Honestly, it's my life's work. It's my purpose. It's God's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing too. There is Ollie and Julio have made you like gave you the opportunity to find that purpose, right? Like you said, like those two, he got released, and then you kind of were all you guys were both in the position where it's like we can make this work, and you guys both found the purpose, and it's been working since. And I think that's that's big, especially for kids nowadays and people out there. Is finding the purpose, finding what you want to do. Is if it's gonna be baseball, understand that you're gonna need sacrifices. You're gonna have to do a lot of these extra work.
You gotta face adversity, man.
You have
And-
to,
and-
man. Yeah, you gotta face the adversity and
some
conquer it,
point.
and it never ends.
No.
You know, sometimes we want an easy life, man, but you gotta grind it out. There's
You
no
have
other
to
way,
grind it
and
out.
you gotta look for that next challenge. You know, like when I go hiking, I always think of this, and it was a quote that says, "When you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing."
Oh wow.
And that's essentially what it is. Like once you conquer something, then you got to go to the next one. What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
Same for the young kids that are developing. Like if you're 8 to 10 to 12 to 14, you want to continue to develop. Be the best athlete you can be. Eat the healthiest you can possibly eat, but continue to develop. And like you said, you got to grind it out, man. You got to deal with the adversity.
You have to.
Big leaguers go through it, man. Everybody goes through it.
Yeah.
Very few people don't go through that grind.
Right.
So if like right now, if you had a kid in front of you, what would be the first things you would say to him to be able to be like kind of have him to understand that those right there, those things are like somewhat the most important things as an athlete to be able to become successful. To new, a lot of times they look at you like, I don't want to eat healthy, I don't want to do this, do that. It's a lot of I don't wants. But how would you have a kid in front of you be like, you know what, let's get you to believe in this?
Drop bombs.
No, well, first and foremost, you reap what you sow, right? The game is abundant. The game is limitless.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want in this game. You could make a lot of money. You could make your family proud. You could travel the world, meet different people, different cultures.
Right.
Or you could just sit there and say, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to work. Then the game's not going to bless you back. If the more love you give to the game and the respect, the game is going to reciprocate that, right? So for kids, I just try to motivate them. Say look at, for me, I want to be an inspiration to kids. I'm the son of Mexican immigrants,
Right.
born and raised here in San Fernando Valley. I was blessed to play professional baseball and then get a year in the big leagues and experience that, and then now travel to some of the best cities in all of Mexico and experience, yachts in La Paz or Cabo, Cancun, going to Chichen Itza, all those things. So I would sit that kid and say, this game will give you anything you want, man, but you have to know what it is here and here. You have to be intelligent enough, and you have to have heart and guts, because it is hard. But it's consistency, it's work, it's self-belief, and it's finding people that are going to elevate you, coaches like you guys, to inspire these kids to be better. And then boom, what's next? Like I
Right.
said, just move up in that whole process of the development of a player.
Damn. I'm really, really motivated right now.
Oh, now?
No, to go to Cancun.
Oh, okay.
Let's go, man. Isla Mujeres. Oof.
Yeah,
Man.
we gotta go out there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There's no
nah,
way
you
I'm
gotta
going.
motivate yourself to go. No, I mean, take,
we
a,
can
little
go.
you take a family vacation.
Leave Thursday, come back Sunday,
Yeah, what's
or
the
Monday
problem?
morning.
Next summer.
Or
you
we
guys
can
are
go for a
going.
month.
For a
he
month?
He goes out
Come
there
on,
for 5.
Yeah.
We can take our train over there from Culuca for the break. Straight crazy. Straight
come on,
ticket.
man.
You
That'd
guys
be
are invited,
crazy.
man. You guys are invited
That'd
whenever
be
you want.
crazy, huh?
That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
Imagine a tournament out there.
Let's do it.
Dude, let's make it happen.
If we
I don't see why not.
We wouldn't make it.
You have Manda Vadachi right there. Right
Oh,
next
for
to it.
sure,
Oh,
for
man.
sure. Man, that's great. There's that kid that you work with. He's young. He's really young. Man, I don't know his name, but I saw his like he really like lost weight like in a couple of weeks with you.
Oh, Bartolito.
Bartolito, yeah.
Bartolito, oh.
Well, he's one of many. No,
How old is he? How old is he?
He's I think he just turned 13.
Oh,
man,
a few
months ago.
We gotta get him over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's get him over
We
here.
gotta
No,
do
it's
it,
that's my boy,
We
man.
got a couple of teams room.
Yeah, for real.
No, and a lot of those kids, like I told you, it's something that I can try to explain to you guys, but
Yeah.
it's until you get down there and you see that these kids don't have a lot, and anything that I can do to help them, motivate them, to me, it's gratifying, man. But yeah, the kids like him, and they have talent, and they have hunger. They just they don't have
No,
the
you see
resource.
him like, damn, he's good.
Yeah, no, they got good actions, man. And Los Mochis, Sinaloa is it's a hotbed for talent.
Is that where he's from?
Yeah, all those
Okay.
kids. Our main kind of like area of where our
Yeah.
scouts, young players, and everything is from Los Mochis.
My brother said Bartolito for the 13U Braves. he's already claiming them, bro. See what I mean?
Go
Hey,
ahead.
man,
you know
Shout
what
out
I'm
to
saying?
you, bro.
He's
I know
got
out there
good
Don't
keeping the
worry,
streets
there's,
safe.
you don't think there's only one? No, there's plenty of more out
Oh,
there.
man.
Hey, we can get it, bro.
It's whoever gets down there faster.
You know what I mean? I already have my book flight over there with Rox. I'm going back there
Bartolito.
in September.
Yeah, I saw the progression with him quick. He was putting in the work. I was like, dang.
I'm gonna tell you a story about him. He so he lives outside of like the city, Los Mochis.
Yeah.
It's a little area called Mwxico. So he has to get on the bus, takes the bus down close to where we train, and then from there he has to take like another small. It's like a caravan, like a minivan. Then from there has to take that closer to where we train, and it takes him an hour. So I think they pay like 12 pesos to get on that bus. But that's the dedication, 12-year-old kid, 13-year-old kid,
Yeah.
riding the bus with his buddy to come to make it to practice. And I didn't even know that, right? I just assumed like, oh, well, these kids, their parents drop them off. Like, no, he wasn't. Takes a bus.
Wow.
So when you see kids like that, you're like, how could I not be there to help them and give my 100% every day?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing important, or one thing that's very important for us as Americans or young kids, right? That to realize that no matter how bad we think we have it, like some people have it a little more difficult than us, but the hunger's there. And I'm actually working on a project right now where I want to show all these stories. I'm kind of creating like a love letter to baseball with
Nice.
all my experiences, and I want to, when that project is done, everybody's going to see it and they're going to feel, I think, inspired and motivated to be like, damn, man, we're, this game is beautiful. It gives us so much.
Yeah.
It's done. Something like not to say similar, but like the Deer basketball one, right? That Kobe did kind of like made it motivation where
Yeah.
he grew up from the bottom to where he was at now. And
Exactly.
he's the best, like one
I
of
might
those
just
things.
go coach 9U baseball tomorrow.
You
I'm
won't.
so motivated. You know?
But yeah, it's like one of those things, right? It's you asked for my hustle, I gave you my heart.
Yeah.
And I think it's something like that, right? Where the
100%.
game doesn't ask much from you, but you give it way more than it asks. It usually repays you a lot more.
Yes,
than,
sir.
than that. I think that's one of the best advice you can give to a lot of kids, because everyone takes certain things for granted, right? And then when you go out there and you see these other kids putting in that work, you're like, this kid right here is taking that bus, going for an hour. Most likely, a lot of it's gonna pay off, whether it be baseball or not. Something is gonna end up paying off in his life because
Yes.
he's giving. It's not asking for much; it's just for you to show up, but you're giving it your all to how to get there. And once you do, you're gonna get repaid for it. So I think
We're
that's
gonna
dope,
send
man.
Bartolito a link to the podcast after this, man, so you
Yeah.
can watch it.
Yeah, we'll give him a shout out. I'm sure
Give
he's
him a
watching.
shout-out. Yeah, that's dope, man. That's
But
great.
and like I said, him, not just him, but like there's so many of the kids just like
Yeah.
him. There's one kid right now too, a kid that's very special, man. 13 years old, lefty. He's gonna be something.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, we need those too. I got that one. See? But I think that's dope because all it takes is one story. Honestly, like it takes one good story to get more eyes out there, more to start hearing more of these other stories, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like with you, it took you one story with Oliver to be able to get to these other players now. Look where that's leading you.
Exactly.
So that's all it really takes, man. It's just one little move, and and you took a risk, and it's paid off. And I think that's where a lot of us we gotta be willing to take risks, just because you don't know what at the end of it how it's gonna treat you. And I think that's where it's benefited you. And we're kind of you're here now and giving us that experience to where we can use that on our own ourselves and
Yeah, I
other
gotta make a
people
trip
watching.
out there though, man. I'm in all seriousness, like I gotta really go out there and like see it. Like I'm sure what you're talking about, I can already kind of picture it.
Yeah.
Because I mean I do see these kids out here. I mean we have over 200 kids in the program, and I would love to see those kids out there, or like what they need, or whatever it is. I mean,
yeah.
like how'd you get to practice, or whatever, kind of like bond with them.
Exactly. And I think also like just the parents, man, I don't think parents get enough credit also, how for the young kids, I would just tell them that like, always honor your parents, but also thank them for everything, man. It's not easy to, take the kid to school,
Yeah.
pack their lunch or whatever the case may be. And then, buy them equipment, maybe dad gets a second job or, because I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
So I think, shout out to the parents out there because it's definitely not easy because I know, the parents down there in Mexico, they grind, man. And they, a parent will do anything for their kid, you know. So that's, I think, something that we cannot forget also to kind of instill that in the young kids.
Yeah, I mean, none of it can be possible without the parents, to be honest. Taking them to school or, whether it be brother or sister, uncles, because, we
Yeah.
make sacrifices to do that, and especially big families. you try to figure it out, and you do. And we tell the kids all the time, like, we get that you get mad at your parents for punishing you and all that, but don't forget to say thank you, because
100%.
you're out here being able to play baseball at a good high school, good facility, and got to be thankful for that. But what I want to ask you, what in your eyes would make a great catcher? Like, if you went to a kid and be like, damn, that right there, it's a good skill to have, or vice versa, like, damn, you know what, he shouldn't be doing that because of this.
Good catcher, first and foremost, man, you got to want to be a catcher.
Gotta want.
That's rule number one.
You gotta be tough.
My catching coach in the minor leagues would say a catcher is who you are, not the position you play. All right. So you're gonna have to love. You have to love putting on the gear. You're gonna have to love getting beat up back there. From a skills point of view, you got to have good hands. You got to be athletic, and you got to be intelligent, and you're gonna have to want to work. If you think about the catcher, we're the jockey to the horse. The pitcher's the horse. We're the jockey. We tell him when not to. So you have to be very selfless, and we don't get the credit. We don't want the credit, right? That's what makes a good catcher from a personality standpoint, from a skill standpoint. And the other thing, they talk about pitchers, double play is a pitcher's best friend. I think a catcher is a pitcher's best friend because
sure.
we're the thinking mind, right? Yeah. We're the one putting the fingers down, or now, pushing the button, whatever it is. But the preparation that goes into it, yeah.
Crazy that sounds.
Yeah, just pushing buttons.
Push the ball. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, they got to push the whole thing. No, but I think that, obviously good hands, athleticism, intelligence, toughness. You got to have leadership. You got to want to be the guy that leads the defense, leads the team, leads the pitcher. A good catcher is almost like a second manager, right? Yeah. When he's behind the plate, I have to show positive body language all the time. If I'm 0 for 4, but I'm calling a good game, I still have to show positivity back there and energy, right? I'm the only one that has everybody in front of me. I'm the quarterback, of the defense. I call the plays. Nothing happens until I put the finger down. Right.
So I try to tell catchers nowadays, you guys are the only ones that sees the field. Everyone else's back is against them.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like no one really thinks or understands, but it's a big deal. Like
Huge.
It's a big deal, because if you can manage to be able to look at everything and make a good like, it's like an offense coordinator with a quarterback, right? Like you have to relay the message, and then if you see adjustments, you see something, then you got to make those adjustments.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I mean by like the intelligence, right? Like the tools of intelligence, really, not the tools of ignorance. But yeah, good catcher is all of that. And again, it is hard, man. It's a demanding position. So also the work that a catcher puts in, I think, is almost twice as much as any other position. And then we're kind of a hybrid, right? And that's why I tell people, a lot of times the hitters and the pitchers are like, pitchers think they can hit, hitters think they can pitch. But the catcher is a hybrid. We're half a pitcher and half a hitter. So we're hitters from a point of view that we actually do hit, but we're offensive minded, but we're also defensive minded and pitching minded. We're like a shortstop just has to worry about playing defense and hitting, right? Damn. But we have to kind of control, or an outfielder, we have to control the tempo of the game. We have to control the game calling. We have to control the umpire. We have to control our manager. Like if they get into a shouting match or something, we have to kind of diffuse certain things. If my pitcher gets upset because he missed the call, I have to diffuse that with him. So there's a lot that goes into it, man. But I would say that, I know it's a lot, but that's why I said my first point was you have to want to be a catcher.
Yeah. That's huge, because you're in the middle of a lot of like confrontations. If you ever like think like, but you're the middleman between the manager and the home plate umpire, and then you're the middleman for the pitcher. You're even a middleman for the fielders, and you're there, and you as a catcher, you have to try to make the umpire your best friend in that sense.
Exactly.
And I think that's where I always tell my guys, and I tell everybody in the Brace program and anybody, is don't try to show up the umpire, especially if you're a catcher, because it's like you're gonna want those calls on your side as well. So it's like you gotta take the pros with the cons with it, and you gotta be like, you know what, it's all right. I want that call when I'm there, so it is what it is, and you get caught up in all of it, but I think that's huge, to where it's like catchers are one of the most, or probably the most important position out there, and you got to take pride in it.
Yeah, you look at any winning ball club, man, they have a good catcher. You can't be a winning ball club if you don't have a good catcher. They always say stay strong up the middle infield, center field, or catcher, but I think
like Will Smith.
So.
Well, that's why they got Austin
All
Barnes.
right, I was just saying.
No,
We're the first ones to win 80 games. You know what I mean?
No,
80 games, baby.
I'll give. No, Will Smith has
We're
made.
talking about Austin Barnes.
They're both.
They're different.
They're very different, but they complement each other.
Okay.
Will Smith is obviously a little more offensive minded, but
Yes.
he has improved his defense like overall. But obviously Austin Barnes has a little more experience, and I think he's
It doesn't go on one knee.
nah, none of that.
Oh, we're gonna get into it right now.
You want to touch upon that?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get
All
into that
yeah.
right now. We'll get into it. No, you're right though. It's you gotta have a great catcher to in any ball club. I mean, that's the first thing we look at if we're playing, or obviously with us, we have a good catcher, and then the team we're playing again, like right away. Before I take third, I don't take third until he throws it down, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, all right, we're gonna run, or we're not gonna run.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, you see a good arm, I'm like, look at my coach, like, nah, we're good. We're good.
That's
But-
the Yadi Molina effect, right? You can
Yeah.
you can diffuse any kind of base stealing game or whatever they have, but
Yeah.
you control the defense.
Yeah.
It's just to me it matters a lot, man. I remember one time Jock Peterson told me that Yadi, he would just by him looking over to see who's on deck, like he just plants fear in you. And like he would be on deck, and then Yadi looks over, he's like, "Oh man," like just that alone, right? But
Yeah.
that's what makes a good catcher.
Yeah.
Is having that extra. Like, there's no way to quantify that,
Yeah.
but it means so much within the game, right? Just having a catcher that calls time and he slowly struts out to the mound. He controls the game.
Right.
So those things are important. It's a kind of a lost art because now we've become so robotic. But I think those things still need to be taught, and I think they still play in today's game.
So as a freshman in high school, as a freshman in college, and you go into the New York Mets organization, did you ever feel like when you had to call time and talk to that pitcher?
You know what? I was blessed, man. Like I told you, I was kind of raised tough, and I've always, I'm a Scorpio, so I can personality-wise, that's kind of like
Okay.
how it was. As a freshman at Monroe, I had to catch John Ennis,
John
your
Ennis.
future big leaguer, right?
Yep.
And I'm 5'3", 5'5" as a freshman, maybe. John's 6'5", 230. So I'd have to go out there. It was kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is. And then my freshman year at Cal State LA, first game of the year, I started and I got trucked at home plate.
Oh,
And I held onto the ball, and my coach John Herbold, he fell in love with me at
Right
that
away.
point.
Yeah.
My first year with the Mets, I remember walking into after we got drafted and we signed, and I remember going in there and just feeling intimidated, right?
course.
And I felt insecure, but then once we got out to the field and we all threw the ball to second base, I was one of the better throwers, and then that gave me confidence.
Yeah.
So I think I always had it, but that's what I teach young guys too, is like never fear failure, or never fear being a leader, and being the general back there. But I think, for me personally, I was always kind of lucky that I did have that within me.
Yeah. Been blessed.
Being assertive, right?
Yeah. Been blessed.
and being assertive, and no matter who's on the mound, even if
Yeah.
big leaguer, not big leaguer, or somebody that's intimidating,
Yeah.
you have to almost fake it till you make it, man.
Yeah.
And then once you get that confidence, then the game is yours.
So you, Ali takes you, right? WBC 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how was that experience for Team Mexico?
Wow, dude,
I
that
know
was.
I know you guys got in a brawl against Canada.
Yeah,
And
against
you
Canada.
were right in the middle of it.
That was incredible. Well, first off, when I found out that the WBC was coming around, that was my third year training Oliver, and now that he was a
Okay.
reliever, so he was in the big league. So when we started kind of looking at the roster, I was like, hey, Ollie, man, obviously he played in the one in 06, 09, and that was his third WBC.
He was a vet.
Yeah. So when he told me, he's like, hey, maybe I can get you in there as like a bullpen catcher. He goes, because, wherever he goes, I go. When we
Right.
were with Tomateros, I would travel with the team and I train them, and, we do our thing on the field. So we were training out in Arizona, and he was like, maybe I can get you in. So once they found out that they did need a bullpen catcher, he brought me along, dude. And it was awesome. It was one of the most, I would say, top 3 baseball moments, from seeing my parents down in San Diego when I first saw them when I was with the Mets, and giving them that hug of like appreciation. But the WBC was special because, especially the game against USA, because it was like, I'm American born, but Mexican by blood and
Right.
DNA.
Yeah.
So when I heard the Mexican national anthem, I would just think about my family and my culture and everybody that I represent. But then when I listened to the national anthem, the USA
course.
one, I felt something because I would think about my family and what this country did for them and the opportunity that they gave them, and the opportunity that it gave me. So it was a win-win for me.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was gratifying to beat USA only because Mexico's talent of baseball is up there neck and neck with anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even, you know, like the latest WBC, they were able to compete with Japan. They beat USA again. But yeah, that was an awesome experience, man. And then the brawl was crazy.
Right?
Yeah, it's all over.
That you know, a lot of people will say, you know, because of the run rule and all this stuff, but there was things that happened within the game that were kind of dirty by one of their players, and it was leading up to that.
Okay.
That's why when Cochito Cruz told Arnold Leon to hit him, that guy had done some things. And you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, man, you're not thinking like, oh, we need to score more runs. It's like we're losing 9-4 in the last inning, and we're accustomed to those unwritten rules of baseball. After the fact, they're like, oh, well, you know, if they score more runs, blah, blah, blah. But there was still within the game those unwritten rules that at that time still applied.
Yeah.
And then, because that catcher, I'll tell the story. That catcher, he slid in hard in the first inning, and you could go back and watch it. And his spike kind of came up. I don't think he did it on purpose, but Cruzy told him, he's like, hey, take it easy, you know. And he goes, baseball, right? Like baseball, it's hardball, bro. Like kind of in that. So he did it again. There was another slide at second base, and he did it again. So Cruzy was like, okay. And then I think Kareem Garcia took him out at home. Yeah, he took him out at home. And so they were already kind of, you know, fighting back and forth. So then when he dropped the bunt, that was when he was like, like I said, it built up to that.
Yeah.
So you were in the bullpen.
I was in the bullpen. Actually, Oliver Perez was warming up. And you know, in the left field, I was in the home side of the D-back stadium.
Yeah.
So I can only see the left fielder to my left. So I'm warming up Ollie, and then I hear the crowd. I heard some noise, and then next thing I know, I looked over to the left fielder, and then he's running in. Oliver drops his glove, and he runs out the gate. So I just follow him like, oh, I don't know what's happening. So as I'm coming down, man, it was like the scene from a movie. It was crazy. Like I could hear everything, and then you just see that both teams were red. So it was just
like
kind
a
of
television, you don't know
it was
where to
just
go.
like a big. And you know, when you get to when in any brawl, everybody goes and you know, everybody's kind of arguing with each other. And I remember getting to the big group, and everybody, you just hear people yelling, you know, cussing at each other and no this and that. And one of their third base coach, I think his name is Tim Leeper, he managed Cruzy, and he was telling Cruzy, calm down. And I think Cruzy might have pushed somebody, and next thing you know, man, you see Mwxico Arredondo, our center fielder, grab a dude, and then he's like punching him, and then he gets tackled by the on-deck circle. And I'm there as a catcher now thinking like, okay, I got to protect my guys, but I'm like, I got to protect Oliver Perez.
For sure.
So when I came back to the pile, after people would start pushing and shoving, there's some punches thrown, I saw Ollie on the ground. So I was like, oh, man. So I just grabbed Ollie and I picked him up. I was like, relax, chill out. I don't know what I was telling him, man. I was just trying to like calm him down because I'm thinking like, you don't want anybody to get hurt.
No.
You know, it's right before spring training or it's during spring training.
Yeah.
So these guys most of them are big leaguers, and that's the last thing you want.
Right.
So I was just trying to hold them back and calm them down, but it was crazy, man. It was cool. So that was the reason why it happened. But I also think like, you know, from a baseball point of view, Mexico did what they had to do. The one bat, it looked bad because he missed them. He missed them once on the no hit by pitch.
Yeah.
Then they warned the benches, and then he missed them again, and then he hit them. So that was
The third time?
Yeah.
You're like, come on, man.
Come on,
You
man.
serious?
That was the bad part.
Yeah.
But it was awesome, man. That was a beautiful
That's a good
experience.
experience. Man.
I mean, that's a lifetime story right there, man. Whether, I mean, I know it looks bad and all that, but I'm gonna be honest, like some guys' dreams is to try to get in one and be like, yo, how does it feel? What does it feel like to go out there? Even though it's not a good, you know, don't do it.
Yeah, but it's part
always,
of the game.
Yeah, it's always one of those, especially growing up when you've seen it so much. It was just like, damn, I want to be a part of one, like, you know. But then it's you realize like, nah, bro, because everything at that point, like people throwing bats, gloves, helmets, spikes. Like you're just like, you know what? It's a little dangerous out here, right? Like, but it's a cool moment. And then you know the story leading up to that, like I said, right? Like usually the stories leading up to it is what makes it even greater.
Yeah.
And that's dope that you're able to experience that, and whether it be, you know, whatever it was, you got in and made the most of it, and had a great, let's say, outro.
Would you do it again?
Oh hell yeah!
So if they went up to you right now, would you be like, "Bullpen catcher, you strap it on"?
Yeah, I'll do it again. I was the WBC was awesome, man. That was first class everything. It was. I mean, obviously it's big league, but yeah, it was awesome on so many levels.
What you think about this past one, man? I know it was amazing, but like to see Randy, embrace
The
everything.
Otani Classic?
Right? Otani's tournament.
The Otani tournament.
Otani was filthy, but I
Well,
mean,
look,
what Randy was doing, it was cool with the rest of the guys.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I think from a point of view of how Mexico represented themselves and Joey Meneses and what he did, he kind of, he's always been a good hitter. He plays for the Tomateros, and he finally got his shot, and I'm happy for him. And then he got his stage, to perform on and let the world know that he could hit. Randy, obviously being Randy, I thought Mexico showed out, man, and I think they really uplifted baseball in worldwide and also in Mexico. It inspired a lot of young kids to really want to play.
Yeah.
So all in all, it was a win, and obviously
bombs on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he was out there making like this, bro. Like that's one of the stake of this right here. And now you see kids doing it. Like I said, like I was gonna ask too. Like obviously, like if there was an uplift in kids wanting to play and getting guys to go out there and do that more than normal.
Yeah, I could see a difference being down in Mexico, and you see young kids not just imitate those guys, but also like just the interest of baseball in Mexico, and in some parts that where you wouldn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Like talking about Cancun, there's these ladies that play barefoot. They're called like Las Amazonas. I forgot the name of the pueblo, but ladies play softball down there barefoot. And then you see these little kids playing, stickball and stuff. And but those are those things that you love to see because you get the kids to play. And even like Julio Diaz has an academy in Culiacan, and his dad runs it. And it's great to see these kids out there, getting them off the streets and having baseball to, as an outlet for them. But also, what baseball means to us, and kind of like our, bendito béisbol. I always say, blessed be baseball. That's what the game does, man, on so many levels. And you know what the game means to you. You know what the game means to you. I know what it means to me. And I always will respect it. But that's the beauty of it. And again, that's why I'm down in Mexico. Part of that is to help these young kids that don't have a lot of privileges, I guess.
Yeah, I know you wanted to talk about a little bit.
Bendito
of that.
béisbol. Yeah,
Bendito
man.
Béisbol, so
I know you preach that a lot. You say it a lot, and it's true. I mean, it's Bendito béisbol, man.
It's given me everything, man. And I wore this jersey too because this is the first kid that we signed from the Tigres, 16-year-old kid from Los Mochis, left-hander, and that to me is like he signed for a good amount of money, and it's life-changing money. He was able to buy his parents a house. Those are those things that, again, and when you see them and you live it, you're like, man, this is beautiful. Yeah. And that's why this game is so great. Yeah. I mean, I was at Dodger Stadium, last 2 nights, and it's packed. And what Otani does. And like, look at what Otani does. Yeah. So no, I always say Bendito Béisbol because it like I said, it continues to bless me. And I get to do what I love. I get to help people. I get to travel, and those are the things that I wanted to do when I was done playing baseball. I was like, what do I want to do? And this is it. Yeah. So I'm always going to hold baseball, and I always respect the baseball gods, respect the game. That to me matters, man. Yeah. Always.
Absolutely, man. We got a few more minutes. Let's get into the one knee, man. Let's get into the one knee. How do you feel about these catchers out there, young catchers, major leaguers, about the one knee? I know you weren't raised that way. Yeah. You talk about it a lot. I mean, how do you feel about it? Speak on it, man.
Yeah, no, well, look, the difficult thing about the one knee and teaching young kids, I'll start with the young kids because it's difficult. It's a lot to ask of a young kid to do what a big leaguer does. Right. So the best and the worst baseball is played in the big leagues. I was told that years ago, and it makes more and more sense every day that I watch the game. Mm-hmm. So what analytics have done is kind of molded the position into being a one-dimensional defensive position, right? Mm-hmm. They only care. Analytics said, hey, man, we're losing a lot of strikes at the bottom of the zone. Right. So what they did is they put all their eggs in one basket just to try to steal more strikes down in the zone. But what do? We sacrifice blocking. We sacrifice throwing. We sacrifice the top of the zone. Nobody talks about that either. Nobody. When you're in your traditional secondary stance with runners on base, you're able to cover a lot more when it comes to pitch framing. But your job as a catcher is to block, to receive, to frame. There's multiple things that you have to worry about. So the one knee catching stuff, let the big leaguers handle that. For young kids, learn the fundamentals of catching. Right. Learn the proper way to squat. One, it's a healthier position to be in anyway. being down on one knee, and that, I don't want to open up a can of worms, but from a physical standpoint and a biomechanical standpoint,
go ahead.
that is not, bro. That's not a healthy position.
Right.
The other thing is that young kids don't have the strength that a grown man does. So when we're trying to, aside from the one knee stuff, and I don't mind the one knee, right? I kind of joke about it, but the one knee position with nobody on base, you do whatever you want, however you want to catch the ball. It doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is framing and protecting the umpire and showing the pitcher where the pitch landed. With runners on base, I'm against it, because now what happens in my blocking? It limits me. I can block anything in front of me, but my job is to handle laterally as well. So back to that with the kids is like learn the basic fundamentals of catching, and as you get older and stronger, then you're able to manipulate and maybe go down on one knee. Maybe there's an art to framing. But yeah, that's how I feel about it, man. It's not
Nothing personal.
No, it's not in a good place.
Nothing personal.
I mean, and that's why stolen bases are like, in the big leagues are all-time high. Bigger bases, you could only throw over 2 times. So
I know.
it's going to come back. It'll cleanse itself. But I think catchers, there's a catcher with the Angels, Ohapi. I think his name is Logan Ohapi. He went back up. He used to do one-knee catching. He wasn't very good at it, and then now he switched back to the athletic position with runners on, and he's one of the better throwing catchers out there. And I think, like I said, the game will kind of self-cleanse itself and revert back to the original way.
Yeah, because like you said, like it's uncomfortable. Like as much as it's crazy as it's like as much as you're an athlete and everything, it becomes uncomfortable. You start to pull little things here and there, and you start realizing like, man, like it feels better to just be on your knees and or like whatever the two, instead of not be on the knee, just be traditional and do the regular stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen multiple catchers like do it. I forgot, I don't know. There's been a couple other ones that do it, and then like you do see the difference between throwing and doing all that, getting guys out. But like you said, it's everybody go back eventually when guys start getting hurt. Like nowadays, I know I was looking at this No More Garcia part being about pitching. Is a lot of guys are worried about velocity. They're going and wanting to throw and hit 100 every single time, and he's like, injuries is at all-time high. He's like, but eventually you're going to want to be a pitcher and go to 94, 93, 95 and pitch. It's going to extend your career, and hopefully it does get back to that, because then now you give guys more opportunities to get up there in the bigs when you're throwing or whatever. So now you get more opportunities because this, like you said, on the one knee and doing the frame and all that, that's hard. Like that's hard to do.
It's not easy.
So like let's say like you're giving more kids opportunities to do the regular stuff and get them to the next level. Right. Now this right here, man, that if you're really good at it, you have a great shot, right?
Yeah.
Especially now.
Yeah, and it's all, I guess, dependent on organization too, talking from the big leagues, right? But I still think if I'm teaching young kids, if I had a son or something that I'm teaching them the old school way, but I'm also going to implement some of the things that, okay, you want to take the load off, drop a knee with nobody on base, that's fine. And there's, like I said, there's an art to framing. This yanking like 3 feet up it's atrocious, man. It's hard to watch. And I think at the end of the
Well, there we
day,
go. That's what we missed right there. The Yankees. Yeah, tell us about the Yankees.
the Yankee, man.
The whole.
It's atrocious.
yeah, no, and then the also your pitcher wants to know where the ball, at the
it's
higher
crazy
levels.
because we brought 3 umpires and they were
They said they hate it.
Yeah, they all hate it
They are
because
like, man, like,
he should be your ally, not your enemy. Like he
Right.
shouldn't be, And now you're creating managers to yell at the catcher or yell at the umpire for missing a pitch or whatever the case is. But yeah, I don't know, it's not good. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's getting out of control.
Yeah.
But like you said, it'll clean itself up, I hope. I mean,
Let's hope.
I know Reggie Sr. was there yesterday at Birmingham, and he schooled me on the whole, like catching and pitching. It's just kind of like guys ramp up the radar gun and all that good stuff.
I think with the automatic strike zone, you'll see, well, you can't beat the automatic strike zone, so you're not going to yank anymore.
Right.
So I think that's why if they implement that, it'll come back.
How hard is it to watch a baseball game nowadays?
Tough, man.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I watch at bats. I watch
bigger bases now, and the pitch clock, and
there's just too much going on.
way too much.
Obviously, I enjoy certain. Yadi Molina was my favorite catcher, but now he's retired. But it's hard to kind of find a catcher that you enjoy. It's almost like you don't enjoy the game as much because there's a lot of swing and miss. Yeah, the velocity is great, but it doesn't matter. Big league hitters are going to catch up to speed anyway. I like to see the purity of the game. Little League World Series ends on a bunt. Like, that was awesome. I love to see just the organic way to create a run. So I don't know. It's definitely hard to watch.
Yeah.
And I've lost a lot of interest. But you know,
Same
I
here.
still I get back to that. I still respect the game, and I'm still gonna fight for the original way of the game. And I get it. We evolve, of course,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean we have to go so off balance with it. You know, there's enough baseball world for the analytical world, and then for the human element of it.
Right.
You know, so if we can mesh that, those are the winning teams. I think Texas Rangers won the World Series last year because they have both of that.
Right.
They have the Bochy in the dugout, and they have the analytical
Bochy.
department.
Bochy.
No, he's right there, Bruce Boch. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
when you can balance those two things, you're going to be a successful team.
Yeah, I agree, man. Woo wee. Who do you got winning it this year? I got the Yankees. I got the Yankees.
Did you really just say that?
I've been seeing that.
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know.
Plus, when they show up with the hat
So why would you
backwards,
fight? Why would you fight me?
they
when
show
I
up
was
like
telling
they show up like this,
Why
like
would you fight
yo.
me when I said
you
Jack
want me to drop
Chisholm
some
was a
bombs?
dude?
I'm not fighting you. I'm just
you
saying.
were.
He's
I think
just-
the Phillies got a good shot
Phillies, huh? That'd be nice for Bryce Harper to win one.
if they stay healthy.
Bryce Harper, yeah, no kidding, man.
I mean, the Phillies had a shot last year. What happened?
Yeah, but
The
I don't know. We'll
Dodgers.
see. Dodgers, they got to get their starting pitching in line, man.
I mean, Walker Buehler has to get his shit
No, the
together.
Dodgers need to just learn how to hit the ball in the playoffs.
Walker Buehler's leaving
Because their
everything
averages
up.
go
He's
from
leaving everything
300.
up.
Their averages go
It's a
from
toss-up.
300 to 150 in the playoffs. You know,
Here we go, man. You talking numbers right now?
analytical, right? Yeah, no, the Dodgers.
Man.
The Dodgers hit at least 220. We win. 220.
Oh man, you're asking for way too much, man. It's
I know,
football
but-
season, man. It's football season. The fall classic will end soon, and we're locked in on Sunday football,
All of
on
a
fantasy
sudden.
football.
That's crazy. You going to Aiden's practices changed you, huh? I get it though. I understand.
Ooh-wee. Oh man! Shout out to my daughter. She got her birthday on Sunday. She's been asking me when she came into the podcast. I'm like, man, I don't know if I can bring her in. No way. But she's turning 7.
Yeah.
7. So shout out to her. All right. Well, man, this was great. A lot
Honestly.
of great info, and you have an amazing story behind you, and you've been blessed, and you continue blessing, your way. And we got to head over to Cancun.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about Los Mochis. I mean, I think I'm gonna try Cancun first.
Sinaloa is beautiful, man.
Yeah,
Sinaloa is
we're
beautiful.
gonna have to go to Cancun first, and then,
all right.
people.
We'll go to Cancun, and then we'll go to Los Mochis and go from there.
Yeah.
It's
But
the
no,
best of
serious
both
man,
worlds.
we gotta go out there and check out these kids, and maybe we can bless them with something. If it's a glove or bats or cleats, I'm sure they would
No,
really
they
appreciate
definitely
it.
appreciate it. I think that's something down the road that I would love to start, maybe like a fundraiser, like a foundation, something
Yeah.
that I want to still continue to build and
I
create.
mean, we have so many kids that have gone through the program. I mean, today I picked up some couches and I'm cleaning out my truck, and I took out, and yeah, I know, I took everything out, and from Drew playing, at a very young age, and he's 2-3 helmets. There's a brand new bat in there,
Wow.
like still in the wrapper, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, and we're talking about kids that what you hit earlier.
Yeah.
And these kids probably struggle for that. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, you know what? Might have to make an excuse to go out there and take that equipment with me.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
we talked
get
about
away.
yeah, like we talked about it doing like a donation thing, like of old people stuff, and shoot, I would love to try to make that happen where we can get together and donate, like have the kids like grow out of stuff and all that, and go and grab it and then kind of donate it over there and make them some braves, give them some stuff to wear, where they
Yeah.
they don't have to do their personal stuff to where they can get pants or whatever to be able to go dirty and get that little appreciation from that, and also maybe one day run a practice over there, with those kids and be like, yo,
I think it'd be life changing for
That'd be cool.
kids here to go down there and either
sure.
practice,
That too,
play a
yeah.
game. But yeah, all that's good, man. I think all that's like, it's personal growth and
Yeah.
and it really makes them appreciate what they have here,
Yeah.
but also kind of humbles them a little bit and say, man, some people have it worse, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
But just
Man.
appreciation. But no, thank you, man. Thank you for the time, and obviously there's so much more to talk about. But
There is. This was great though. We
So
went.
hopefully we cover some
I
good
knew we were
things.
gonna go over, which is great. We got some stuff. We got your back ordered hat, which I'll get it. For you.
appreciate
So,
it.
yeah,
before
man.
you take off.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Before you
Thank
take,
you.
when do you take off
Back to
next
Mexico.
month?
yeah, next month.
Okay. I'm gonna go pick that up tomorrow, so we'll link up in the next couple of days here. But Lyra's got some stuff for you. Lyra, go ahead and hit it with it.
Yeah, so we're consistently doing our segment of rapid questions, and
Alright.
so
Consistency's key.
you don't gotta answer it in 1 second, but let's not take 30 to a minute either, But But here we go. Well, you know, you probably what you like to talk about. So would you do a pitch clock or no pitch clock?
No pitch clock.
And would that just get the game back organic, or just to
I would force the catcher and the pitcher to get back into that flow and the rhythm.
Love it.
tempo?
Like that's what it used to be, right? Greg Maddux get a ball. It was every 12 to 15 seconds. That's what
You
we
see
were
the
talking
documentary?
Oh,
by the
talking
way?
about that, yeah. Where he was
Yeah.
calling his own pitches, like
Man.
catching the ball.
Oh yeah.
What?
But yeah, no, I would just want players to be more take the initiative to
Yeah.
have catchers. Let's
Okay.
go.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
So, I was you answered it. We were gonna say your favorite catcher was Zaire, but who would be your second favorite catcher?
Second favorite catcher, Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra. Okay. Who's your favorite MLB player all time and now?
All time, man, I would say, well, Manny Ramirez,
Manny
all
Wood.
time, but Barry Bonds too. Barry Bonds was my favorite left-handed batter of all time, and Manny just that flow he had was ridiculous, bro. And then living through Manny Wood and the ridiculous numbers he put up.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
well, yeah, Manny.
Okay, nice. I know that you do your performance and all that. So, would you encourage to do an energy drink before workout or no energy drink?
Cup of coffee, man. Before, organic coffee, purest ingredients you can possibly get. A little caffeine is good for you before a workout. But yeah, no energy drink. All that's just chemicals, man. It's all poison.
Okay.
My bad.
Go as natural as possible.
Okay. So,
wait, my bad. Let's put that away. Put it away, player.
so
I see some fruit in there. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
pitch calm or no pitch calm?
No pitch calm.
No. You
No.
don't want anyone talking to you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
no. No pitch
Rocks.
calm.
Fastball out.
Old school. Put the fingers down. And if guys are stealing your signs, you got to come up with a way to
Yeah.
to deceive them. If they're still
Right.
picking your signs, and you got to plunk somebody. Not hurt anybody. Just let them know that, hey, man,
Diablo.
I'm old school curious.
Diablo.
But it brings excitement, right?
It does, and honestly, it really does, because it's one of those where it's like that the game is just like, I don't know. I guess they've always been big on the long ball, right? Like,
Yeah.
To them, that was exciting.
Yeah.
But to me, it was always a pitcher duel. Like, you know, it's like
Yeah.
a pitcher duel is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
'cause at the end of the day, playoffs gets back into pitcher duels. Like, reality, like, you're not gonna have a 10-9 game in the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
it's rare.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So why not keep it that way? But you know, who are we at this point? Just like that, right? But already, I pretty much it. I was gonna say catcher on 1 year now, but
But
let's be
you
real.
answered that already.
We know
It's
that.
all
That's
good.
it.
No. I mean, nobody on base. Have at
Do it.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah. Do
But
what you
somebody
need.
on base, you better go throw somebody out.
Yeah. Man, before we end, talk about the Rock's performance.
So-
Yeah, we didn't even hit that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
So
we still got time, right? We still got time? Of
course.
Good. This is great.
all right, so Rock Sports Performance. When I went down with Oliver Perez to Culiacan in 2010 and 11, it was a winner of that.
Yeah.
2010
Right.
into 2011. I saw the difference that it made for him. And then when he got called up to the big leagues back in, when he signed with Seattle, and then got called up in 2012, I felt that there was something there. So I just designed, I actually hit up a buddy, and he designed a logo for me using the Rock's name, and I said, well, I'm gonna run with this. At that time, I realized that there was kind of like a transition in like strength and conditioning. It was that old school, like, bodybuilder type workouts. But then what I learned through the minor leagues, having some good strength and conditioning coaches, I kind of turned it into my own program. And then when I met Marlon Byrd in 2012, he was a big influence on me. And he would do kettlebell. I didn't know what a kettlebell was back then. He introduced me to Paul Chek, Steve Cotter, this competition kettlebell style. And that's when it kind of solidified. So I was like, I'm going to be a personal trainer coach, but I'm going to take the holistic approach. I'm going to do other methods, like kettlebell, which was something that was kind of new in the game. Like nobody really knew that.
Right.
And when I saw that, and Marlon was a big influence, man. He really helped me out a lot. And that's what I did. And my buddy Al Quintana opened the doors for me over at Legends Baseball Academy in Pasadena. And obviously now the last couple of years I've been in Mexico a lot. So I kind of just take that. I'm like, I travel with that philosophy. I continue to grow, continue to learn. Everybody's different. Everybody's bodies are different. So, positions, are different. Pitchers are a little bit different than infielders and all that.
Right.
At the end of the day, the baseline is I want to train athletes. I focus on posture. I focus on feet alignment. The way you stand, the way you walk. That's all important. But also it's mind, body, spirit.
Nice.
I try to connect everything. Again, I need to know, like, if I'm working with you, I need to know what your dream is. Like, what do you want out of the game? So I can help you get there. So it sounds like a lot, but at the end of the day, I know it's worked for me. Yeah, man. So it's worked for me. I was my own first client in a sense. I majored in kinesiology at Cal State LA, so I had to train myself, learn nutrition, and then with doing it with Oliver, and then with Julio and all that, and I just kind of ran with it, man. And so far, so good. We've signed 3 guys in the last 3 years over in Cancun.
Nice.
So it's like I said, it's I know it's working. So I just want to continue.
Yeah,
to
for
build
sure. No, I'm glad we hit that.
Yeah.
That.
Like I said, you got to believe in the product, and obviously you believed in it, and you were the first testament to it, and look at where it's going now. So it's only gonna grow, and you keep going and keep making it organic, and it's gonna get out there, and next thing you know, you're gonna have 3 to 15 guys signed, 15 to 30, and it's gonna be.
I might just wake up tomorrow for
It's the gift that keeps on giving,
For a
man.
run.
It keeps me
I
alive.
hope you're motivated for that.
like,
you know
I'm
what
walking.
I'm saying?
I didn't even finish my drink.
You know what I mean?
So you said it, like, put that away. You know what I mean?
Water.
Not that kind of water though. We're not even hit that.
I'm
topic.
trying.
That's another podcast, bro.
Yeah.
That's another podcast. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna hit that. We're not gonna hit that.
Yeah.
Got a lot of chemicals in there. You
Oh,
know?
my bad.
we're good.
But no, man, this was awesome, brother. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this was
man.
great. Well, we're good, man. We're good to go. We're coming to an end here, and thanks again for coming out. We appreciate it. I'm glad we did this today.
Yeah.
Two in 1 week. A little exhausting, but it's great. It's good exhausting. I mean, so thank you so much for coming, and we'll definitely got to link up again for see what we can do for those kids out there in Mexico.
Yeah, man, that'd
sure.
be awesome.
Thank
you.
So, all right. Well, that was episode 18 with Rox Arroyo. Okay, Rock System from the 818's finest, and we are pretty much good to go. Episode 18. Andy Lira, what do you think?
Yes. Thank you guys again for everyone tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, please. Hit the like button. It's only it's for free, so appreciate the support as well. The ones that have, we just hit 100 subscribers, so I know it may seem like a small thing, but to us it's a huge deal. Thank you to all you guys that have subscribed and keeping us going. And then thank you to Rox again. So
Looking for sponsors.
Yeah. Whoever wants to help out and get out here, we're always welcome to everything.
Yeah.
But once again, man, it's without you guys, we wouldn't. A lot of us have motivation. But
Man, thanks again.
thank you guys again for everything. Appreciate you, Rox.
Thanks, guys.